we've gone up to New Hampshire where Chris Christie is attacking Donald Trump, but his other issues could possibly with people in different states not even allowing him on the ballot, because Republicans in New Hampshire are fighting over whether or not Trump can be disqualified from their ballot in the upcoming election under the 14th Amendment. And it states that they can begin to wrestle with the issue whether Trump should be kept out because of all these legal problems. Let's go to those details, because Bryant Corky Messner, who's a New Hampshire attorney, ran for the US Senate in 2020 with Trump's endorsement, by the way, so he's a Trump guy. He has suggested that he intends to file a legal challenge that questions Trump's candidacy under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment that bars officials from holding federal or state office if they've engaged in an insurrection or rebellion against the United States or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. If those enemies are the January 6th folks, people ran up in the Capitol and Donald Trump said free them all, they're actually patriots, that's giving some aid and comfort, or even maybe being out on during that speech, which he said is the best and biggest he's ever done, and sent them in there. Maybe it'll qualify, maybe it won't. Messner has not even formally filed that challenge, he's just asking. He met with New Hampshire's Republican Secretary of State on Friday to discuss that issue. Scanlon said this, and prompted pushback from the state's Republican Party, whose leader, Chris Ager, said that the party will fight to make sure that candidates are not denied access to the ballot. So they're going back and forth. But it's not just New Hampshire, as I pointed out. Beyond New Hampshire, Michigan's Democratic Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, also told MSNBC that she intends to seek a legal opinion on that same issue from the state's attorney general when the time is right. She suggested that she would work in conjunction with her counterparts in other battleground states, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Georgia, to see how they're gonna proceed. This could actually spread. And it would actually be, at some point they have to figure this whole thing out, obviously, because it is or it isn't. Last point here from Forbes. Voters have filed lawsuits in Michigan and Florida challenging the constitutionality of Trump being on the ballot. And that could force some state election officials to go ahead and look into this a little bit closer, check out these legal disputes over this issue. And they're expected to make it all the way to the Supreme Court, who we mentioned earlier, Ray, seems like they're kind of a little bit less radical with the way they're going some of these things. I'm the pessimist when it comes to punishing Donald Trump. They're not gonna keep him off of any of these ballots.
No, I'll just say if the Republican Party was smart and had any sense of self-preservation, they would be fighting their damnedest to make sure that Trump wasn't on the ballot, because then they could, they've been so captured by the Trump cult that, they haven't thought about what the party is gonna be after him. Because he's an old man, I'm sorry, but not in the best of health. He claims he weighs 215 pounds. Laughable. I'm sorry, we know that this man is not, does not take care of himself, eats so much McDonald's while he was president that the whole West Wing stunk so bad that his own staffers didn't want to go near it. And he'll probably end up going to jail. So I mean, at some point, the party needs to reflect and realize that there is a post-Trump party. What is it gonna look like? And should we be embracing it sooner rather than later? I'm glad they haven't had this come to Jesus moment, because it's better for me. I don't want them to have power in any way, shape, or form. But I think that they really should be taking these sorts of things more seriously.
The ones that are having their come to Jesus moment already, or realize some future for the party after Trump, are the ones that are polling probably the lowest. Chris Christie being the one who's probably doing the best, and we just saw just even New Hampshire, it's only at 9 or something. But the Nikki Haley's and Mike Pence's of the world, they're not. Maybe eventually, but they don't like anyone that's saying anything different. So I think they're noticing that.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.